All right, there you are, and there we are. I'm Paul Leslie, Senior Content Creator here at ZeroBounce. Always a great pleasure to welcome you to a webinar. You could have had a lot of choices. There's so much content out there in the world you could be absorbing, but you decided to be here today. Thank you for that. I always wonder, where are you joining us from? I don't want you to be shy. Please chime in there in the comments. Tell us where you're tuned in from. And also, I've always wondered about this. Are you joining us? Are you working from home? Are you at an office? I like to picture an office, but you just never know. Let us know. Raleigh, North Carolina. Alex, thanks for joining us. Not far from here. It's all part of the show, folks. Life is difficult. Just a little housekeeping here. The most frequently asked question we get is, this webinar, is it being recorded? It absolutely is. You are going to be able to watch this on YouTube. Watch it as many times as you want if there's something that you would like to reabsorb again. Also, feel free to ask any questions you may have, any questions at all. We are going to do our best to get to all of them. I am confident that we will. Don't be shy at all. And it's my pleasure to introduce our speakers today. Austin Helm, he is the Business Development Executive at ZeroBounce. He has 8 years of grassroots sales and business development experience, providing real businesses like yours with actionable email insights. Learn how to ensure your emails reach your customers' inboxes with his expertise. You can also connect with Austin Helm on LinkedIn like I have. Just click that button right there. He'd want it that way. And it's with great pleasure that I'm going to be introducing Tanya Gordon, Manager Deliverability Strategy at Klaviyo. It is pronounced Klaviyo, folks. Tanya Gordon is a deliverability expert with more than 25 years of experience across ISPs, ESPs, and MTAs. She leads Klaviyo's deliverability strategy team, helping top brands improve inbox placement and ROI. Tanya is known for developing innovative, policy-driven solutions that keep senders connected to their audiences. It's been proven that when people see an agenda, they tend to retain more of the information. So we're going to be covering the state of the inbox, cleaning and validating your list, integration walkthrough, ZeroBounce and Klaviyo, an unbeatable combination, optimizing your campaigns for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, action plan and resources, and of course, the Q&A. Now, how confident are you in your email deliverability? Feel free to chime in there on the chat. I can tell you this much. After you hear from Tanya and Austin, your confidence is going to be significantly boosted. Now I'm going to bring on our speakers. Austin.
How are we doing, Paul?
Gordon. We're doing real good. I'm so happy to see both of your smiling faces.
Hey, Tanya.
Hello, hello.
Now, how confident are you two about today's webinar? 1 to 10.
I feel very good. I'm 10 out of 10 confident. I think we're going to deliver a lot of good content here. We know everybody's getting geared up for the Black Friday, Cyber Monday season, which I'm sure for everybody is a bit of a crazy time, but hopefully we can give you some insights here that will make it a little bit more easy and also make it much more effective. So I'm excited for today. How are you feeling, Tanya?
Same. This is a subject near and dear to my heart, so excited to talk about it today.
Well, I'll be silently listening. I'm going to politely excuse myself, and I'll be back at the Q&A. You all have a great webinar.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. So, hi, I'm Tanya Gordon, and I lead the deliverability strategy team at Klaviyo. Thanks for spending time with us today. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday is still the biggest single paid attention window of the year. Inboxes are crowded, CPMs rise, and shoppers are primed to buy if you can reach them, right? So our strategy isn't send more, hope more, it's send smarter, earn more. 2 mindsets for today. First, think in systems. What we do now determines inboxing then. Second, value compounds. Clean data plus engaged segments plus measured volume equal higher placement and better conversions. We'll connect each of those dots. Okay, so keep this lens in mind as we go with every send, either generate revenue now or increase the probability that your next send generates revenue. Peak season rewards brands that do both. So now let's talk about key considerations. So 4 pillars to lock in early. Plan ahead. So work backward from your sale dates. Align creative, inventory, and deliverability ramp so you're not spiking volume of the week of. Grow and warm your audience. So acquire and re-engage now. We want mailbox providers to see rising, healthy engagement before we ask for the ultimate big lifts, right? Go omni-channel. Use email plus SMS, RCS, push. Use each channel for what it's best at: speed, reach, and reinforcement. Post BFCM monitoring. So expect some fatigue, have a repair plan baked in, and tighten segments, run re-engagement campaigns, and validate new signups. If you only do these 4 things, you'll outperform the market. So peak isn't just big, it's compounding. Promotions start earlier, linger longer, and shoppers comparison shop harder. What that means for us, the algorithmic memory at mailbox providers is longer than our campaign calendar. Sudden behavior changes like a giant one-off blast, they look risky. So we'll treat BFCM as system across 4 phases. Collect better data now, ramp volume predictably, target precisely during the event, and restore health after. We'll show you practical moves in each phase. So what are your thoughts around this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that with everything happening, at the end of the year, and you've been going all year, you've been getting things together, and now it's really time to capitalize on the behavior of your clients and of the general population, where they're just looking to buy stuff. Christmas time, whatever holiday you celebrate, all happens to be around the same time, and so everybody's just spending more. So it's very important to set yourself up early to be able to capitalize. This is when the majority of the revenue is made for your company. I know us personally, this is our biggest season of the year because everybody's using emails to get messaging out there and things like that. So for sure, it is one of the biggest times of year, and you want to be sure that you've set yourself up well in the summer months to be able to capitalize on all this activity.
Absolutely. So you can go to the next slide. So 2 non-negotiables: ramp, don't spike, increase by 50% at a time, and avoid jumping to greater than 2 times your typical send in a single deployment. This preserves placement, inbox placement. And blast rarely. Full lists sends are special occasions, like BFCM, right? Most of your revenue comes from engaged segments, so keep those cohorts tight and consistent. If you need to scale with more sends to engage, not more unengaged in a single send. And that difference alone protects your domain reputation. And we'll go into a little more detail about, what's engaged and how to send to those unengaged as well. So, and then mailbox providers reward recent engagement, opens, clicks, replies, saves. Site behavior is fantastic for targeting. We all know that. But it's inbox engagement that trains the filters used by the mailbox providers. So define your engagement tiers up front. 0 to 30 days, 31 to 60, 61 to 90. Depending on your send frequency, your core campaigns live anywhere in the 0 to 180 day range. You can then pull in the lesser engaged with guardrails. And this is really important. As ramping up, you want them to be smaller cohorts. So those lesser engaged, non-engaged. Typically, the unengaged should never exceed 10 to 15% of your total send volume for that day. Meaning 10 to 50, so you would have 90 to 85% highly engaged subscribers and 10 to 15% of those lesser engaged that you're trying to get them to engage. So your goal is to re-engage those non-engaged subscribers before sending the full list the week of BFCM, right? You definitely don't want to send to a lot of unengaged all at once and harm your reputation, because you're not even then going to have the chance for them to see the message, not only your engaged subscribers, but also the non-engaged. Don't you agree, Austin?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely something you want to ease into, and also make sure that you're focusing on keeping everything healthy with the people that you already know are going to convert, the ones you've already engaged, and then figuring out a good strategy to get the ones that are unengaged or unsubscribed back into that engaged category, so that you have two good segments to work off of.
Excellent. You can go to the next slide. So shoppers are consolidating spend with fewer brands they trust. So knowing me shows up in small moments. The right price point, a reminder for an item viewed 3 times, and a nudge when the size I need is back. A powerful BFCM segment viewed 3 times, viewed 3+ times in 14 days plus discounted. That's a laser targeted send with high intent and strong inbox engagement. So we want more sends like that and fewer, generic blasts to your entire list, right? So loyalty isn't about making customers spend more. It's helping them spend smarter and with you, right? So we tailor messaging to their role this season. Gift giver, self-treat, stock saver, talk in their language, like subject lines like your sister gift short list under $50, or top picks that usually sell out in your size. That's how you win attention without discounting everything. Wouldn't you say, Austin?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good point you bring up here, Tanya, because I know with like all the AI craze that's out there and things like that, with all the automation and things of that nature that everybody kind of feels like they somehow need to take advantage of, the one thing that you can rely on and fall back on is the human element of things that always is going to produce for you. So like Tanya was saying, when you get to know your customer and you're customizing things specifically for them and using your natural human sense to communicate with them, that's what's going to ultimately be the most effective and pay off for you in the long run.
Absolutely. And this leads into the next slide. So discounts should follow signal strength. Some examples. Viewed 3+ times will get small targeted discount or price drop alert. Abandoned cart with high average order value will get tiered incentive or free shipping. VIP with high lifetime value will get early access instead of deep discounts. This keeps margins intact and boosts deliverability because your highest intent subscribers keep engaging. So let's talk about zero-party data, or what customers tell you directly. This is gold in peak season. Add one lightweight question to your pop-ups or post-purchase, like, what are you shopping for this season? Or typical spend range, or sizes or preferred colors. Map responses into tags like bargain hunter, gift giver, repeat buyer. Then route each tag to flows that speak to their why, not just their what. And then use how recently they bought, how often they buy, how much money they spend, and predictable lifetime value to find your likely repeat buyers. Give them early access windows with limited inventory, or bundles that increase perceived value without heavy discounting. Restock alerts for high velocity items in their size or color. Treat VIPs like the line skip at a concert. They notice and they convert faster. Austin, I know you have some valuable information about cleaning and validating lists. You can go there.
Yes, absolutely. Paul, if we can go to the next thing here. So let's set the stage for you guys, okay? You've come up with the strategy. You've done all the hard work. You've made the emails pretty. Everything's looking good, right? You're ready to go. Unfortunately, even after all that, there is still a way that you can fail during all of this. And it's if one simple thing is not taken care of. And it's the maintenance of your email database, the contacts that you actually are going to be sending to. And the reason is because if these contacts are not good, then all the stuff you worked so hard on is not going to get in front of the people that you are trying to reach. So this is the key step in all of email marketing, is just making sure that the contacts are actually real, so that the stuff you make and the messaging you're trying to get in front of them will get in front of them. Next slide, Paul. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all kinds of noise, all kinds of stuff going on. You got to stand out. You got to make sure you're getting to the inbox. And for those of you that are familiar with my webinars and things before, you know, I always love the snowball analogy, where I say email is like a snowball. And that is, when things are good, they're going to get better. When things are bad, they are going to get worse. And so as you're ramping up your volume, you are basically going to begin with a reputation that you've built up until that point. So if the reputation is good, you're starting from a good position. If it's bad, then you're starting from a bad position, and you have to be careful about what you're doing. So understanding where you're at, what your deliverability rate is at before any of this even occurs is very important. The magic number is 3% bounce rate. That's what we always say to look for when you're beginning or determining whether or not there's going to be issues with your send. So in the past, if you've had like a 3% bounce rate, that's when you're going to start seeing issues. That's when email service providers start to take notice, and you're going to have to start to look at to what is causing that problem, which typically is just the contacts being bad. And so when you begin to send from a bad position, right? Like, let's say you have a bad sender's reputation in your beginning, you have to first validate the contacts and then start very small. So you have to send to small amounts and gradually build your way back up to the size of sends that you want to get to before you can get to a position where that's going to be sustainable. If you make big jumps, those throws flags to the email service providers, and you're probably going to get dumped into spam. But if you're in a good position, then you can continue as needed, as long as the contacts are actually good. So with Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming up, you want to make sure that the contacts are good. So that's why you have to validate your list to make sure that all of the emails that you're going to be sending out are actually going to land in the inbox of the people that you're trying to send to. So let's talk about those emails for a second, what they look like after you run the actual validation. What's good emails? What's a good email and what's a bad email? Next slide, Paul. So a good email, and there's a couple ways to look at this. There's the valid syntax, which everything looks good, and you have to be careful there because just because it looks good doesn't mean it's necessarily valid, which is why you have to run this process. But a good email is an email with an actual person at that specific address. There is an actual mailbox and inbox at that address that you are going to be able to reach. And so when we validate the emails, we are checking this for you to make sure that there's a person there. The equivalent I like to use, it's like me going to somebody's house, knocking on the door, seeing if anybody's home, and then telling you the result. And so it's just a digital way of doing that. Next slide, Paul. And then a bad email can be a myriad of different things. There's all kinds of bad emails out there. There's catch-all emails, which are like really the only gray area there is. You'll see this a lot typically if you're sending to business addresses, B2B emails, things, any sort of organizational address. And these are emails that are designed to receive all incoming mail, regardless of whether or not the address is correct or not. And so you have to be careful when sending to these, because just because it gets delivered doesn't mean you necessarily sent to a valid email, and that can still count against you. So you got to be careful when you're dealing with catch-all emails. Spam traps, these are emails that are actually were good at one point, but they're very old now. So email service providers actually let them exist and turn them into spam traps, and they know if you sent to these emails that you're probably spamming because they've gone stale, and they know they're stale. And so these things can make their way into your list. So you have to be careful when doing your sends that you're cleaning all of these out of there so that you don't end up sending to one of these. Temporary emails, people will use a lot of 30-second emails and things like that to sign up for accounts just to get the free rewards and things like that, or make purchases of that nature that end up not existing 30 seconds or a minute later, whatever the case may be. So you got to be careful with those. Abuse emails, these are valid emails, but they're people that are known to mark you as spam. So you might not want to be sending to them if you're sending out a bunch of emails. All these different things can do damage to your sender's reputation and make it tough to actually deliver emails. So keeping up with the maintenance here is definitely going to be key. Paul, if you want to go to the next one. And like I was saying, so when people do keep up with the maintenance of their database, they, without a doubt, will ultimately see great results. Here's an example here with one of our clients, Bar Cups. The engagement increased, everything. We were able to identify a bunch of their bad data. 13% of their list was bad. A lot of you might be shocked at how bad some of your email data is, especially if you're purchasing lists. Cleaning data is an absolute imperative. I know they all say it's good, but if you're buying data of any sort, typically if 60% of that data is valid, you've hit the jackpot, I would say. You can expect usually anywhere between 30 and 40% to be valid of that list. That's a pretty conservative estimate there. So cleaning the list makes everybody's life easier. It's going to make Klaviyo a lot happier when you're sending from them. It's going to make you a lot happier because your email, you're sending to good people. And then you can actually start to build a list that you can cultivate and work off of. So be sure to identify which emails are good and which emails are bad. So with that being said, let's check out the integration here, Tanya, with Klaviyo and ZeroBounce and how we work together.
Excellent.
We can go to the next one here, Paul. So the good news is that since we've partnered together, this all becomes very easy. Klaviyo, ZeroBounce has a native integration with Klaviyo where you will create an account with us, connect your Klaviyo instance. We can validate all the data from your lists in Klaviyo, and then we tag all the emails, as you can see here, with different statuses. So if the email is valid, invalid, whatever the case may be, we tag it all. You can filter by those specific tags and then get the bad emails out of there. So it makes it much easier to know what's good, what's bad, what list to work off of, what you don't want to work off of. And then everybody's happier. Klaviyo's not sending emails to bad contacts, and you're getting your emails where you actually want them to go. Next slide. So some of the cool things you can do with the integration is you can set up validations and schedule them. So you can schedule them for whenever you want to do them. If you want to do it monthly, if you want to do it quarterly, biannually, once a year, whatever the case may be, you can schedule it for specific lists. You can automate the integration so that any new emails coming in are going to be validated automatically. We also automatically dedupe, so we can remove duplicate emails. And then we do have the ability to score catch-all emails as well, which is an activity score, basically from 0 to 10, to give you an idea of what is going to be valid of the catch-all emails, with 9s and 10s being what we recommend sending to. So it's not a perfect system, but it definitely can help with the catch-alls being a gray area. If we see a lot of activity, it gets a high score, you know it's going to be a good email. Next one here, Paul. So again, like I was saying earlier, after you've run the validation and you want to segment the emails, we can get the invalid emails out of there, and you'll have that good data to work off of. You can score the catch-alls, like I was saying. We also have activity data, which is available as well, which will tell you how active the emails have been within a 30-day period, a 60-day period, 90-day period. We'll give you that data for free and let you know, okay, since these emails have been active within that 30-day period, these emails are going to be much more likely to engage. So you get very granular results here as to what is going on with those emails, so you know which emails are going to be best to send to. Next one here, Paul.
All right, so let's be candid. List quality decays every month. Bounces, spam traps, and abuse complaints drag down your sending reputation. During peak season, you add a surge of new and old addresses. Some of those will be very risky, right? So if you ignore list hygiene, you'll spend December emailing people who either can't see your mail or aren't even interested. That's a double loss. Wasted sends and worsening placement. Right, Austin?
Yeah, absolutely. It happens every year. So Tanya, I'm curious, on Klaviyo, what do you guys see on your platform with people trying to send to bad emails and their list decaying? What's like pretty typical of the amount of people that are going to experience some type of decay at some point?
So we see this, our team specifically works with larger senders, and we see this a lot. It's important. We work with our customers very hard to set up, those flows that will retire subscribers after a certain period of time, after trying to re-engage them, right? Trying to pique their interest yet again. And if not, go ahead and sunset them. So we have sunset flows and all of that. So by really staying on top of list hygiene, that helps to have that decay. But oftentimes we're brought in for, customers that haven't necessarily paid attention to that as they've grown and got larger and larger. And then all over, we often hear, well, we haven't done anything different. Why all of a sudden are we, do we have an issue at this mailbox provider? And it's because you haven't done anything different. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden, I did something wrong and now I have a bad reputation. It's literally decaying every single day, not just month. So, as time goes on and you continue to send to those subscribers that haven't engaged, that time frame grows and grows and grows. And so, then your reputation is just dropping. And eventually the ratio, and I love to talk about ratios with deliverability because, that's that whole 10 to 15% non-engaged with your engaged. If that ratio drops below a certain point, all of a sudden, boom, you've got spam filtering everywhere. Yep. Or one particular inbox. It doesn't have to be multiple. We oftentimes will see it in pairs, but it doesn't have to be. It could be that inbox provider. Every one of them have different rules. And so that inbox
a lot of times too, it happens like that.
Yeah.
Like, and people are like, what the heck just happened?
What just happened? Like it just all overnight, all of a sudden. And the problem is like, if you catch it early, like right after it happens and make an adjustment, like what we're talking about here, then it's much quicker to clean up. But if you don't even see it and time goes on, it takes a very long time to clean up that reputation. So
just a little inside info for the viewers as well. Does Klaviyo happen to favor those who are sending to good lists versus sending to bad lists?
Are you talking about,
internally, do you just like those clients better, the ones you don't have to worry about?
Of course.
Yes.
Actually, I think our favorite thing to do is to work with somebody that may have issues, but they'll listen to us and make the adjustment, and they'll follow our whatever we're telling them to do. And then we get to see that, revenue growth, that boost happen. It's very exciting to see that happen. Right. So, and also, we don't just work with customers that have problems. We work with customers that are doing great, but we focus on how can we get better, right?
Yep.
So, all right. So turn validation on before peak signups flood in, right? So 2 moves. Bulk hygiene on existing lists to remove invalid and risky addresses, like what you had said. And then also real-time validation on forms to stop bad data at the door. So cleaner lists lead to higher engagement rates, which leads to better inboxing, which leads to more revenue. So it's reputation compounding in action, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a series of things that you gotta nail that all compounds on itself.
Right.
It's the snowball. Keep pushing the snowball in the right direction.
Absolutely. All right. So you can go to the next slide. So, all right. Okay. Principles in place, right? Now let's turn this into an operational plan you can run starting today. I'll cover the ramp timing, testing, and live monitoring, plus a simple decision tree for when to pause or push. Go to the next slide. So work backwards from your biggest BFCM moments. Pick up a ramp start date that gives you at least 2 to 4 steps up in volume before your main events. So operational rules, increase sends 50% at a time. Hold that level at least 1 cent during at least 1 send cycle. So don't double like every day. It's really my favorite thing to do is double basically every 3 days. I like to step up a third each day, so it's more gradual, but never go greater than 50%. And build in cool down days. So, days to let reputation stabilize. So make sure you have those days that you can just hold off and kind of make sure everything's steady and going well. And scale with more sends to engaged, not by dumping in long dormant addresses. So if your engagement dips or seed tests show spam, other foldering, hold or step down. Don't power through. Wouldn't you say?
Yes. And if I could add a note here, one thing that a lot of you need to do while you're ramping up, because a lot of people think like, okay, I've sent, let's say my goal is to get to 20,000 emails a day or whatever the case may be. And I'm starting at 2,000. As I'm building up and I go from 2,000 to let's say 5,000, I have to maintain good deliverability at each level before I jump up to the next level. If something is happening and you see a drop off or you see any sort of bad results occurring when you jumped up, you have to either pause or go back down to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to get to that high level of deliverability, that 97% deliverability rate and up before I go to the next level. You can't just keep jumping levels thinking that everything's going to be okay if the results are not telling you it's okay at that specific level. So be very careful when you're making these jumps, and monitor what's happening so that you know, okay, we're good. We hit our marks at this level, safe to bump up. And then as Tanya was saying, you don't want to make these huge jumps. You got to be strategic and incremental about getting up to the results that you're looking at. And the whole reason is because you don't want to look like a spammer. The process I just described is the behavior of a good professional email marketer. Spammers just look to spam. They look to get as much out there as they possibly can. So if you're mimicking that type of behavior, guess what the email service providers are going to think you are. So just be very careful and be very deliberate in what you're doing, because you want to do this in a healthy manner, in a healthy manner, because that's what's going to help you long term be able to send at that volume.
Absolutely. I think it's important to monitor not just your delivery rate, but also your open rates, and to look at individual inbox providers, not just your overall aggregate, which I think I say later on. But it's really important to think about that, because when you have an issue that starts to, it's important that you don't just stop sending to that mailbox provider. That's a really important thing to remember. All of a sudden, let's say your open rate drops significantly. Do not stop sending or pause sending. What you want to do is pause ramping and step down in your ramp where it was a better place.
Yep.
And that's something we'll talk about. And let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So make seed testing routine, not a fire alarm, right? So watch placement by provider, not just aggregate. Pair that with postmaster dashboards and block list monitoring. So if you see softening placement, pause broad sends for 24 to 48 hours. We're talking about the broad sends. We're not talking about pause sending, period. You want to send, basically, you're just tightening up your engagement to 0 to 30 or 0 to 60, engaged tiers, those engagements that you regularly send to. And then reduce frequency and rebuild with smaller, high intent cohorts. You'll recover faster by being disciplined for 2 days than by forcing volume for 2 weeks. Wouldn't you agree, Austin?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So here's your punch list to run right after this session. Let's go to the next slide. So validate lists. So bulk clean legacy contacts, turn on real-time validation on all capture points, resegment by engagement. So define those 30, 60, 90, 180, and then also define that the rest of the year, because you want to make sure you pull in those BFCM recipients that engaged during BFCM last year. So maybe they shop with you once a year during BFCM, right? So make sure you pull those in as well. You're just going to be, real intentional about sending to them. And then start your volume ramp up. So plan specific dates and hold points. Set up seed test and monitoring. So build your go, no-go criteria in advance. And draft targeted plays. So price drop alerts, multi-view triggers, VIP early access. So, draft those targeted flows. So do those 6 things and you'll enter peak season stronger and exit with a healthier list. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely you got a plan. You can't just go into this thinking like, okay, it's peak season time. I'm just going to start sending a lot of emails and expect that you're going to get good results. It's something that you have to start planning for now if you have not already. And so, like Tanya was saying, getting everything cleaned up, slowly ramping up, getting your domain, the email service providers familiar with the domain and the volumes that you want to send. All of that is important to start doing now so that when the time comes, you can capitalize on all the activity that's going to take place.
Yep. So BFCM rewards preparation. So if you ramp deliberately, prioritize engaged audiences, collect the right data, and keep your list clean, you'll see better inbox placement, better conversions, and better margins. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
So now let's probably get to Q&A now, right?
Yep. Let's do it.
Okay. Let's get some questions going here. I learned a lot about BFCM from you all. And now let's get to the questions. So Don asks, we send our whole list once a month giving updates on all of our entities. Should we not be doing this? We do have drip campaigns for each of these entities as well, but since all of our entities interweave and we are trying to bring awareness as a new NP, we started doing this a few months. So what are your thoughts there?
Well, I would say initially it sounds like you're doing the right thing. You're starting slowly. You started a few months back with the people that you're trying to send to. The only thing I would say is you just got to this to me just sounds like you have to keep up with the maintenance of your database. So just monitoring the results, open rates, engagement rates, deliverability rates, those basic types of things to tell you, that's all going to tell you how well you're doing and what the status of your campaigns are. So if everything's looking good, continue as planned. But if something's changing, or if you start to notice things dropping, or different results are starting to look bad, that's when you have to go into things and start to look, okay, is there something wrong with my data? Is there something wrong with the content I'm sending? What happened here? Where is the problem? So those are your initial indicators that you're going to actually look at. But then from what it sounds like to me, pretty much the only thing that can go wrong here is the decay of your list and things that are just going to happen without any sort of like action on your end. It's going to be all external stuff that you just have to monitor and make sure that you're keeping up to date with the health of your list so that everything delivers and you're getting to the inbox as normal. Anything you add there, Tanya?
Yeah. I would say, so basically, I believe what you're saying is that you send smaller campaigns, the rest of the time, more targeted campaigns the rest of the time, right? And so once a month, you're sending out to your full list, and where we had said, those are special occasions, right? So depending on what you're trying to accomplish, it is possible to have, a special occasion once a month. The main thing to monitor would be your delivery rates and open rates after these sends. Like, not just these sends themselves, because obviously if you send to your whole list, your open rate is going to be smaller, but monitor your trending. So is it affecting your other sends throughout the month? And if it is, then you might want to get a little more targeted with those sends. And so, and I understand sending, out more, trying to, what you're doing, but I think it's important just to watch those trends. And if you see trending starting to, harm the rest of your sends, which sound like they're the most important, then you'll want to make adjustments.
All right, we got a great question here from Lisa. How do we identify catch-alls and spam traps?
Good question, Lisa. So the way you identify them is you use ZeroBounce and you run your list through our service, and we'll be able to identify them for you because we're actually going into we're pinging the servers that these email addresses are hosted on in order to get a very specific result that we then give to you. So like I said, it's like me going to somebody's house, figuring out what's going on at the house, and then giving the result to you. And so when you actually get the result from us, the ZeroBounce status will be spam trap, or the ZeroBounce status will be catch all. So it'll be very clear what is going on with that specific email, and then you get to decide what you want to do with it. We're not going to do anything with the data. We're not going to delete it or manipulate the data in any sort of way. We're just going to tell you what the status of that specific email address is, and then you have to make those decisions and take those actions yourself.
I got a question for both of you. When it comes to the emails that are hitting your inbox that are Black Friday, Cyber Monday emails, what do you find that you all are connecting with?
I find that those that it's that know me factor. So if I've been on their site looking at something, I love nothing more than you contacting me saying, we know you're interested in this, it's on sale, or, save me the time of doing all the research, right? Use your data, to work with you. And so those targeted sends, they're very, very valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I would say the work is done before the lights ever even come on. It's with the brand's built a relationship with me, and I now know the brand. I like the brand. I've seen their products and seen the stuff. It's going to be very hard to get my attention on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, if you're not somebody that I don't know, because there's so much noise and so much stuff going on that, I have my own life and I'm very busy. So I'm just trying to block out all the stuff that I don't really want to hear, or all the extra stuff that I don't really need to see. And so if you, like Tanya was saying, if you can tailor something to me, if you've already built that relationship with me and you can tailor something to me that is going to catch my interest, discounts, obviously that's the layup. That's the easy one. Or, products that I'm going to like, something new or anything like that, that will definitely get my attention. But the real work is done before any of this happens, because you have to build that relationship with me in order for me to actually give you my attention during that time period, just because there's so much going on.
I too, when I'm shopping, with intent for, gift giving specifically, I won't make a purchase unless I go through my email and see if I can find a coupon. I will be in the store in the line and search through my email to try to find a coupon. Like, why not save the money for the places, we love? And so I absolutely use email, SMS as well. I love to, save money when I can on these products. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So this question comes from Kamal. What are the most common mistakes brands make during BFCM that hurt deliverability, and how can we avoid them?
Okay. Yeah. So most common mistake is to wait too long and then just start sending, jump up your volume with volume spikes, send to your full list without any planning or warming, and sending to just generic, like, this is our sale, right? That's going to hurt your deliverability more than anything, because if I open it and it's just a generic, like, it's BFCM and here's all our products, like, okay. But use subject lines that are gonna capture them, like, and target. You can still send your full list, but you can target them, your entire list, in different segments. Like, hey, BFCM's back. Thanks for purchasing last year, right? And or I know, just gift giving, and look at what they've spent last year during this time frame, and target that way as well. So it's really important to not just segment and then for reporting purposes, but to segment, to target with specialty.
I would actually be willing to bet that I don't know if there's actually any statistics on this, but the more segmented that a company has, the more segments a company has, and the silos that they build, the more silos that all their specific different types of clients are into, the better their revenue is at the end of the year. 100%. I think that's definitely the case, because if you're just like Tanya was saying, biggest mistake is people just blast everybody. They just send the same thing to everybody. They do it late. They make these huge jumps and everything goes to crap. And so when you're segmenting and you're sending all these specific things to the specific people that it's relevant to, it's just so much easier to make sales and make money. It's so much easier. But that's all done prior to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So if there's one lesson here, it's that Black Friday, Cyber Monday is really right now. That's when your Black Friday, Cyber Monday is. You should be doing the work right now to make it easy at that point in time.
Yep. And if you can keep your reputation positive and start to build up some volume, the week of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you will 100% get away with sending to those that didn't engage this last year. You will.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's easy to clean up afterwards. It's tighten back up your engagement, and because inbox providers know this, right? They know. So and like the whole segmenting and targeting, like Klaviyo CDP, like use those different values that you have that you can really pull out, all the data, use all your data points, use everything to really target interested subscribers, get them what they want when they want it, right?
Absolutely.
Great information. So I will thank you all for those questions. And by the way, if you have any questions for us, ZeroBounce, we are open 24/7, 365. You can always ask us a question, and I'll hand things over here to Austin.
So thank you guys for sticking with us. Thank you to Tanya as well for joining here and all the valuable insights you provided. So if you want to get some information on the ZeroBounce Klaviyo integration, you can scan the QR code here and it'll take you to the page. You can also go to zerobounce.net and then also find us in the Klaviyo marketplace. So we take you step by step through how to set up everything. Like I said, it's very easy. If you need any help with anything specifically, Paul, if you can go to the next slide, you can contact me and schedule a demo. Scan this QR code here. It'll take you to my calendar. You can just book a demo and I'll be happy to walk you through everything and help you out. And then I think that's the end here. Yeah. And so when you sign up for ZeroBounce, you get a free account. It comes with 100 credits and access to some of our other deliverability tools that we'll replenish every month with the freemium account. Test it out, see what's going on, see if you like it, see if it helps. And then you can upgrade into the paid accounts that gives you more volume and more access to everything. So with that, again, thank you, Tanya. It was a pleasure having you here. Thank you, Paul, for hosting. And then Thank all of you who joined. I believe that is it from my end. Tanya, do you have anything you want to say to the people?
Happy sending.
Happy sending. Good luck this season, everybody.
Thanks,
all right. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, presenters, for a very interesting presentation. Wishing you all a day full of sunshine. Until next time.
Take care, guys.